Hey guys, it's Xander here, and we're back looking at brews in Standard. This is a Temur Gates deck that I've put together for you guys. It actually started off as a 5-color Gates deck, but through playtesting with a friend of mine, Wim, we found that the deck didn't really work the way that I wanted it to, so we ended up cutting it down to Temur colors, make it a little bit more focused, and the deck just works so much better now. So I'm just going to talk about the main board, touch on the sideboard, interactions between, and hopefully you guys enjoy the video. So we're going to start off the lineup with the only creature in the deck, and that's the 4 of Gate Colossus. Now, this card is an absolute all-star in this deck. It's for 8. It's an artifact creature construct. It's an 8/8. It costs 1 less to play for each gate you control, and can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less, much like Steel Leaf Champion's ability. And then whenever a gate enters the battlefield under your control, you may put Gate Colossus from your graveyard on top of your library. So as long as we keep playing gates, this thing keeps coming back if it manages to die at all. And then seemingly the only way to get rid of it is through exile. So it's just a huge recurring beater that just keeps punching face. It's awesome. It's a really good win con in this deck. To be able to get to this, we're going to need gates or lands, alternatively. So we're going to need to be able to ramp. To do that, we're running a 4 of Circuitous Route, which is for 4, 3 and a green. It's a sorcery speed. You search your library for up to 2 basic land cards and or gate cards, put them onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. Insanely good ramp at a 4 cost. It's an explosive vegetation, but being able to fetch gates means we can search for up to 4 colors worth of mana. It's great. In the form of ramp and draw card, we're running a 4 of Growth Spiral in the deck, which is for Simic colors, so green, blue. At instant speed, you draw a card, and then you can put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. Being able to do this on their turn so that we can have the gate untapped in our turn, insanely good value. Drawing a card, playing a land, it's everything this deck wants to do. It's just awesome. On the ramp and combo side of stuff, we're also running a 3 of Wilderness Reclamation, which is an enchantment for 4, so 3 and a green. Sits on the battlefield, and at the beginning of your end step, untap all lands you control. So our gates normally come in tapped. This untaps them at our end step, which allows us to do all of our instant speed stuff in their turn if we've got the land up. Insanely good card. It also allows us to do a cool trick that actually took inspiration from a friend of mine, David Hall, who was running a Temur control deck with this in it. He was also running a lot of Planeswalkers in his version. The kill spell that was in his deck was this comboed with Expansion to Explosion. So in this one, I'm only running the 2 of. I think he had more in his version. But Expansion is for 2 hybrid. At instant speed, you copy target instant or sorcery spell with Convert Mana costs 4 or less. You may choose new targets for the copy. So that allows us to copy Growth Spirals, Circuitous Route, Love Coils, Shocks, any of our instants and sorceries. Where the combo side of it comes in is with Explosion. So it's X and 4, so 2 blue and 2 red. At instant speed, Explosion deals X damage to any target, and target player draws X card. So what's going to happen is, at our end step, we're going to tap all of our lands to generate mana, and then Wilderness Reclamation is going to untap them because of end step, and we're going to tap them again, effectively doubling the amount of mana that we can produce. But if we have more than one Wilderness Reclamation out, we can tap them, untap them, and then tap them again because of all the triggers. So being able to ramp to that degree means that this can just one-shot kill someone in the mid to late game. Insanely good card. And when we're running stuff like Gate Colossus into their face and they're having to block it, or if it's out early enough that they can't block it because it can't be blocked by 2 or less, this becomes even easier to kill them. It's just great. So that's the 2 ways to kill people in this deck, with the Explosion or the Gate Colossus. To help that plan, we're running a little bit of removal in the form of Lava Coils in a 3 of, which is for 2, so 1 and a red at sorcery speed, you deal 4 damage to target creature. If the creature would die, it's exiled. 2 Shocks, which is for 1 red at instant speed, you deal 2 damage to any target. Running some counterspell magic here with Syncopates in a 4 of, so X and 1. At instant speed, you counter target spell unless the controller pays X. If that spell is countered this way, it is put into exile rather than its graveyard. Ionize in a 3 of, a little bit of counter burn, so it's for 3, 1, a blue and a red. At instant speed, you counter target spell and deal 2 damage to that spell's controller. A bit of gate synergy as well as a board wipe in the form of Gates Ablaze. So this we're running in a 3 of. So it's for 3, 2 and a red. At sorcery speed, Gates Ablaze deals X damage to each creature, where X is the number of gates you control. In the mid game, this is allowing us to be the only one with a creature out, basically. If they haven't got stuff like Golter or something ridiculous, we can go all the way up to 6, 7 damage to each creature, and it's not going to affect us. It's insane. Insanely good card. On the other synergy side of the gates, we are also running a 4 of Guild Summit, which is for 3, so 2 and a blue. It's an enchantment that sits on the battlefield, but when it enters the battlefield, you may tap any number of untapped gates you control. Draw a card for each gate tapped this way. Whenever a gate enters the battlefield under your control, you draw a card. So being able to tap all of these down, say we've got 7 lands out, we tap 3 of them to play this, and then we tap the other 4 gates to draw 4 cards. At the end of the turn, we're going to untap all of our lands, allowing us to play any of our instant spells. Again, insane value. It's just all about drawing into this engine of recursion creatures or building our board enough to explosion to the face. It just works really, really well. To make the cards like Guild Summit, Gates Ablaze, and Gate Colossus work well enough, we need to be running a lot of gates in the deck. So we're running a 4 of Simic Guildgate, which comes in tapped, tap for green or blue. A 4 of Gruul Guildgate, which comes in tapped, tap for red or green. A 4 of Izzet Guildgate, which comes in tapped, tap for blue or red. 2 copies of Selesnya Guildgate. These are off color for the Temur colors, but we needed to run more gates again, so it's more effective. A single copy of the Azorius Guildgate, which taps for white or blue. The Boros Guildgate, which taps for red or green. 2 islands, a forest, and a mountain. And we're also running a 4 of Plaza of Harmony. So Plaza of Harmony enters the battlefield. If you control 2 or more gates, you gain 3 life. That's actually really relevant in a lot of matchups. It's tapped for colorless, or you can tap for 1 mana of any color that a gate you control could produce. Being able to tap for any color that our gates can produce means that we very easily have a lot of mana fixing happening in the deck. So if we don't have the Wilderness Reclamations, we don't want to be stuck on gates all the time. That's why we're running basics at all. People will often be like, oh, if you're running a gates deck, it's got to be all gates. But you don't always want to be stuck just with tap lands. You need to be able to play stuff in the early game, like your Shocks or your Lava Coils, or being able to hit an Ionize or Syncopate on the turn you need them, not the turn after. So to lose out on tempo, or to gain tempo, we need to be able to have these untapped lands. Touching on the sideboard here, a 3 of Negate for the counter magic. So it's 2, 1 and a blue. At instant speed, you counter target non-creature spell. 2 copies of Disdainful Stroke, which is for 2, 1 and a blue. At instant speed, you counter target spell with converted mana cost 4 or greater. 2 copies of Electro Dominance. It's another card that we can throw into the deck that works just like the Explosion, in the sense that you can double tap with Wilderness. Another finisher, if that's another way that we want to do it. But Electro Dominance is crazy because it also allows us to play any of our other cards at instant speed. So Electro Dominance is for X and 2 red. At instant speed, it deals X damage to any target, and you can cast a card with converted mana cost X or less from your hand without paying its mana cost. So we can get a Gate Colossus on their turn, we can get a Guild Summit on their turn to draw a heap of cards, being able to play a Circuitous Route on their turn, being able to play a Wilderness Reclamation on their turn. All of this stuff, just being able to do it at instant speed because we're running the Electro Dominance. Awesome. Some removal in the form of Broken Bond for 2, 1 and a green at sorcery speed. You destroy target artifact or enchantment, and then you can put a land from your hand onto the battlefield. Again, synergy with the lands, artifact and enchantment removal. The 4th copy of Gates Ablaze, just in case the matchup calls for it. If the matchup doesn't call for stuff like Gates Ablaze, got some Chemist's Insight, which is for 4, 3 and a blue. At instant speed, you draw 2 cards. It also has Jumpstart, so you can cast it again from your graveyard by discarding a card as an additional cost. 3 copies of Root Snare for the aggro matchups. Root Snare is for 2, 1 and a green. At instant speed, you prevent all combat damage that will be dealt this turn. All this kind of stuff can be backbreaking. Like, if we want to just take out all of the sorcery speed stuff and throw in all the instant speed stuff here, the deck just turns into an absolute nightmare for our opponent. The Wilderness Reclamation is just a broken card. I don't know why they printed it the way they did. I'm just happy that they did. It works really, really well in this deck. The whole deck just works really insanely well. I've had a whole lot of fun playtesting it. Thank you, David Hall and Wim, for helping me out with the deck to get it to where it is now. Another card that you might want to consider running in it, I'm not running it in here at the moment, but I'm probably going to try and put it in, is Nexus of Fate. With the little bit of ramp that we do have in the deck, Wilderness Reclamation can let us play Nexus of Fate as soon as turn 4 in the deck. Absolutely insane. Just being able to recursively do the Nexus of Fate plan. We could be running the full control build and not run the gates and just run Nexuses, I think. That's another way that I want to build the deck. You guys can build it however you want it, but that's just a suggestion. And that is Temur Gates in Standard. Thanks for watching, guys. As always, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to see new videos as they were released. If you like what I do and you want to support the channel, you can throw me $1 on my Patreon at patreon.com/ZandersQuest. And I will see you guys in the next video. Keep questing, guys.